Instagram stories for Monday, December 15th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we'll be reviewing what the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, shared on his recent Ask Me Anything. There's some interesting questions in here. We'll talk about my favorites. When is the Edits app for desktop going to launch? We'll also talk about why you can't edit a reel after you post it, and why you can't have links in your captions on Instagram. We'll have those answers plus a lot more after the break. Welcome back. Let's jump right into my favorite question. When is the Edits app for desktop going to launch? The person actually wrote, when is it going to be lunch? But they meant launch.
I love that this says lunch. No timeline, definitely something we're exploring, but nothing to announce yet. We're hearing a lot from some Edits creators that they would love to use the desktop, but also we have a lot of work to do to improve the iOS and the Android apps. So we're trying to figure that out.
I will say that is actually progress. Adam Mosseri has historically said that there is no plan for an Edits app on the desktop. So to hear that they're considering it is a step forward. That is something I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of. The next question, can I edit a reel after I post it? The answer to that is no. I'm going to talk about how TikTok handles this because I think TikTok handles it much better than Instagram does. Here's Adam Mosseri to explain about how you can't edit a reel after you post it.
No, you cannot edit a reel, unfortunately, after you post it. You can change the caption, you can tag people, or you can add someone as a collaborator, but you can't actually edit the core reel itself.
I want to just take this opportunity to say that I like how TikTok handles this so much better. With Instagram, you can only delete the reel or edit the caption. With TikTok, it gives you the option to move the entire video back to your drafts folder so that you can continue to edit the video, modify it in the way that you need to. We all make mistakes. Sometimes you realize after you've posted it, something is wrong or there's a way you could make it better. You shouldn't have to start all over from scratch and delete it. You should be able to just edit the video. Something for Instagram to add to their product backlog. Okay, moving on. How do I share a story to a story? This is a new feature that Instagram recently rolled out. We talked about it last week on the show. To share a story, there's a share story icon. It looks like a little paper airplane in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.
If you are flipping through your stories in your story viewer, for public stories, you'll see a little send icon in the bottom right. You can tap that and there'll be an add to story option. So you can share that story to your stories.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Where do I find my algorithm? If you're not familiar, my algorithm is a way that Instagram allows you to customize what kind of content you see in the Reels tab only. They've said it's coming to other parts of the app, but for right now, this allows you to pick the topics you want to see Reels about and which topics you don't want to see Reels about. If you go to the Reels tab, you will see a little icon in the top right-hand corner. It looks like two sliders, and when you tap on it, it shows what topics of content you've been into lately and gives you an opportunity to add what topics you want to see less of. So when I opened mine up today, it said, lately you've been into making engaging content, behind the scenes music scenes, and New York City's energetic vibe. And then it says what you want to see more of, based on your activity, summarized by AI, content creation, New York City, fitness community, motivation, online business, podcast, Taylor Swift, all the things that make sense. And then what you want to see less of, and I could add things that I don't want to see. Here's Adam's answer to the question, where do I find my algorithm?
So right now, the Your Algorithm feature only works for the Reels tab. So if you go to the Reels tab in the bottom, and in the top right, you'll see some little sliders with little hearts. Tap on that, and you can see what we think you're interested in, and you can make adjustments. You can add things and even add things that you don't want to ever see in the future. And then you'll quickly see that be reflected in your Reels experience. We're hoping to quickly bring this to both the Explore tab and to the main feed over the next couple months.
Okay, let's move on to a question about story highlights. It's been a while since I talked about story highlights on the show because frankly, I hate them. I think they're stupid. I think they should go away and we should not have story highlights at all. Now, every time I say that on the show, someone listening sends me a message about how much they love story highlights and how valuable they are and how great they are. And I partially think, number one, it's hilarious that this is the thing that gets you listening to send me a DM telling me about what you think of the show. But second, I still hate story highlights and I still think they're stupid. The question, what about story highlights? Will you move them to the feed?
No, we're not looking to move highlights into the grid right now. We tried it. One of the reasons was lots of people who are young actually have very few posts in their grid at all, and we wanted to try to make sure profiles didn't feel so empty. But it was just not quite working. People were getting confused. Some people were quite annoyed. So we're taking a big step back and trying to figure out what we want to do. And generally, we want profiles to not only be a place where you can showcase your creativity, but also something that you're excited about. Being somewhere where people can learn a little bit about who you are. And so that was one idea. It didn't work, so we'll explore other ones.
I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you all of why I think story highlights are stupid. If you have a story highlight that is so great that you have to share it, make a reel out of it. And then you can pin that reel to the top of your profile. I'm willing to bet that any story highlights that you have not been updated in months, probably years, maybe 5 years at this point. There is no point to having a story highlight that is older than a few months or even a year. If it is so good that it is something people who don't know you should see, then make a reel out of it and share it with the world. But going through story highlights, especially old story highlights, is an exercise in futility and frustration because the viewers have no idea if that information is relevant at all anymore. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what creators should be doing in 2026 and how to tell when people stop watching your reel. Stick around. Welcome back. Continuing with the questions and answers from the head of Instagram, what's something you'd like to see creators do or focus on in terms of content in 2026? Great question.
There's not one thing I would ask all creators to do. You're all so different and you've got different goals and different challenges. But I will say that there are a subset of creators that I think bring a lot of joy to the platform, whether it's just positive energy or humor or they like to shine on others. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that. So if I could see a little bit more of something, it would be that sort of positive, vibrant energy that I think is so exceptional when you see it. And it's definitely part of Instagram today. And I would love to see that continue to grow.
No one asked what I want to see more of in 2026, but I'll tell you, it's more content that is two people having a conversation in person in a studio where one is telling an incredible story and the other is listening, nodding along, asking questions, whatever. And that clip is cut and I must know what is the rest of that story. And I have to find the podcast or the YouTube video and find out. That's what I want to see a lot more of. The next question, why can't we copy a web address in the caption? This is a great question. Instagram has historically never allowed links in captions, and they have historically said it's to prevent spam. However, there's tons of spam on the platform, so I don't think that's really working out the way the Instagram team intended. Here is Adam's answer to explain why you can't copy a web address in the caption.
We don't support links in captions or on posts because they come with a bunch of different implications. One, they end up shifting the content ecosystem towards more publisher content, more news, and in a way that I don't think is quite in line with what we're trying to accomplish on Instagram, where we're more focused on creativity. And two, they come with a lot of challenges around managing spam and other integrity and safety issues, which we could handle, but just is a bunch of time and work that I think might be better spent elsewhere. I know it's annoying. You can add a link sticker to stories. You can add a link to your profile. You can actually add multiple links to your profile, but no plans to add link support to main feed anytime soon.
I'm going to translate that into Instagram wants to keep you on the platform and not make it easy for you to leave. The last question we're going to talk about today, what's the best posting schedule for a week? Here's Adam's answer.
There is no perfect schedule, unfortunately. I try to post a few times a week. I usually fall behind that. I usually see that I get more views when I do post a bit more frequently, but it's got to be something that you can maintain over time. In terms of time of day, I would check your insights and you can see when your followers are mostly online. And I would post right before that peak comes, because that way there's the most people who follow you who might see it when that piece of content is fresh. But generally speaking, there's no perfect rule. I'm trying to post at least 1 to 3 times a week, and I'm trying to post stories every day, and I'm constantly not quite living up to that because I'm just a little bit too busy to make that work. But you got to figure out what works for you.
All right, that is going to do it for today's episode. If you would like a recap of all the things that I talked about on the past 3 episodes, you can sign up for my email newsletter, which you can do from the link in the show notes or by going directly to my bio on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media. Thank you for listening, and come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things you need to know.
Let's get it. The year was 2013. You posted your first pic and you're glad you posted seen. Your friends liked it too, but what you didn't know is what posting on that platform would do. Taking all your time and attention, doom scrolling. Also, let me mention, you gotta post on every platform, putting content on every set just to perform. Likes gave you validation and you got hooked. Now engagement is down, you feeling overlooked. Hey, keep coming back for more podcasts. And find me on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media.